Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit story. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for having my husband fired? Can't believe I'm posting here, but here I go. I, 29 female, have an ex, 34 male, Richard. It's been 3 years since we separated due to him being abusive and cheating, but we are not divorced as divorce is expensive in my country. And whenever I apply for divorce, Richard insists on meditation. So, divorce is not granted as one of us tries to save the marriage. He lives with his mistress and they have a kid together that was conceived when we were all still together. Due to both of them harassing and abusing me, I have a restraining order against both of them. My employer is aware of all of this as the utility company my ex works for supplies the buildings for their offices are at one of the major suppliers in the country. Now to the actual events. Due to restrictions, everyone is currently working from home with a few days in the office. Richard decided to show up at my work with his kid and demanded to see me for child support money since we are still legally married. As my employer is aware of the situation, the reception refused to tell him I'm in the office, or not, I was, and asked Richard to leave. Richard did not and security was called. As he was with his child, security couldn't use force to remove Richard. So reception threatened to call the utility company he works for. Richard didn't believe the reception can do it. So, long story short, him and his mistress were fired with immediate effect as Richard showing up at my work has been seen as gross misconduct, and they discovered Richard was his mistress' boss. Apparently his employer didn't know they were together and is strictly forbidden to have a relationship with someone who is directly employed by you. The utility company apologized for Richard's actions and gave a considerable discount for their services to make sure the news of what happened wouldn't spread. Since they were fired, I'm getting calls from unknown numbers of various Richards, his mistress' family members, and friends saying I'm responsible for it and just a jealous a-hole for getting them fired to get Richard back. We still have some friends in common and they believe him getting fired and losing the only source of his income they have is too harsh and I should have prevented that or shouldn't have spoken in the beginning about what happened. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Just not to repeat myself in the comments, his family believes it's okay to have several partners and be responsible for kids even though they are from an affair. And according to our friends in common, he spreads a lie that I couldn't get pregnant. I don't want and never wanted kids, so his mistress helped us with that, but then I overreacted and called it cheating. So he had to stay with her to support the kid. It's the same as what he pulled in the court when we were getting divorced alongside with his I still love her and should have communicated better lies. So the court wouldn't grant a divorce as they believe he is trying to save the marriage and I'm being unreasonable. Now for the top of comments. Oh dear, this better be a joke. He asked you for child support for his adultery kid? What the F? In case this is real, not the a-hole. Him and his family believes if the child was conceived in the marriage, the other party should accept them even if it's from adultery. They also had to go at me for separating with him due to cheating, because in their eyes it's okay to be with several people. Usually it's the women claiming such, but from a biological perspective, it would be pretty obvious who the mother is. Really? What kind of idiocy is this? My guess is the kid was born with some issues. They realized it was too expensive, and since his family has stupid beliefs, they tried to pull it off at my working, thinking I would be too embarrassed to not pay even if it's clearly not my kid. I'm Asian, Richard is as white and ginger as you can get, and the kid looks nothing like me, if that matters. Him. Amazing. By the way, what kind of backwards country allows you a restraining order against your own husband but refuses divorce because one of you is trying to save the marriage? Also, definitely not the a-hole. It's not that it doesn't allow it. It's more like we get different judges go all the way to actually get divorced. Then Richard tells a story how much he loves me and how he wants to atone for his silly mistakes, and he won't be like that and other bullshit. The judge believes him, sees as he wants to save the marriage, so gives 6 months meditation to do so. Due to this, he has the right to contact me, so I file another restraining order. They last for a year here and you need to renew them. File for divorce again, wait for the case to be seen, and the whole story repeats itself. Some of the stuff he comes up with is unbelievable, like that the child is mine as I couldn't get pregnant, I don't want kids and never wanted them, so that I agreed someone else to carry a child for me, so it's not cheating and many more lies like that. At this point, I'm actually collecting them and might publish a book with all the things he comes up with. Edit 2, thank you for the support. I'm getting a bit overwhelmed trying to reply to everyone, but just wanted to point a few things out. His family beliefs are not normal for the country, and I'm pretty sure they change if the situation would be the other way around. My boss is also incredibly frustrated with the situation, so he gave me the contact of his friend who happens to be a family lawyer who agreed to help me at a discounted rate as he owes my boss a few favors. He sees why courts take that long and will try his best to make sure divorce is granted. He also works as no win, no fee and believes we can win the case and get Richard to cover outstanding fees. And most importantly, no, I have not been paying child support to him and was instructed not to. The bit of claiming the child as mine as his mistress is a surrogate can be a bit complicated, but Mr. Lawyer, who I now owe a beer to, said courts can't make me pay or accept it since there's no evidence of any agreement. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for continuing to sleep nude despite my neighbors being able to see into my bedroom? So I'm a 28-year-old dude, and having been living in my house for a few years now, one of the main reasons I chose this place was because my bedroom faced east, allowing me to wake up in the morning sunlight. Most mornings, I wake up before my alarm goes off just because the sunlight is coming through the window waking me up. There used to be a tree line that provided a natural barrier between my house and any potential neighbors, so I never saw the need for curtains or blinds, along with they're expensive as hell for the nice ones. Recently, my neighborhood expanded and most of the tree line my bedroom was facing was cut down to build new houses. So boom. Then there's a house that was built right across from mine, and their window has a clear view into my bedroom. I've always been comfortable sleeping nude, and it wasn't an issue when there were no neighbors around, but not long after the people moved in, the father of the house came over to my house and pretty much told me to stop being nude in front of my windows since his family can see inside my bedroom. He wasn't nice about it, but he wasn't mean either, just matter-of-factly, like he gave me an order fully expected to be done like I was his kid or his employee. I was somewhat surprised but understood his concerns, so I made an effort to be more mindful of my nudity when in view of the window. I stopped cleaning and making my bed before getting dressed. I'd hop out of bed, walk into my closet, and at least put on some shorts, then go about my morning chores. That being said, I still sleep nude, and I occasionally end up being visible to my neighbors for a brief moment after waking up. The father came over again, leading to an argument between us. I told him I was trying my best to be considerate, but there's only so much I can do, that it's my house and I'm not changing my lifestyle because they moved in. He threatened to call the police and said I was being a menace to the neighborhood, whatever the hell that means. So am I the a-hole for continuing to sleep nude, even though my neighbors can see into my bedroom? Now for the advices, not the a-hole. Some commenters are suggesting OP should put in blinds. If the neighbor is bothered, then they should put up blinds. Why is this a problem for OP to solve? Not the a-hole, but offering another simple solution. I got a bunch of that frosty rainbow window cling stuff, so it distorts what you're seeing from the outside and actually makes the sunlight extra pretty. Plus, you really only need to put it in the bottom part of the window to essentially blur out anything. I was thinking the same. I used to live in a rented apartment where all the windows face the building across the street, and I wasn't comfortable with the neighbors being able to look inside my bedroom. So I asked the landlord if I could put frosted self-adhesive paper. This allows the sunlight but blurs everything. Landlord was more than happy with my suggestions. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for pulling the cancer card to shame someone and drawing attention to myself in a party? 7 years ago, I had cervical cancer, which wreaked havoc in my life in a lot of ways. Perhaps stupidly, but I was more upset about losing my hair than I was my fertility, at least at first. I used to have long hair, rarely ever cut it, but shaved it during the course of chemo. Even after treatment, after remission, I found that I was empowered by my new hairstyle, mostly what it meant to me, and kept it short. Recently, I've been diagnosed with vaginal cancer. Thankfully, we caught it early, so hopes are high, but I won't lie that I'm not upset that this is happening to me again. This upset has led me to be touchy. My brother and his new girlfriend and newborn flew in for a visit for the first time since the baby was born. This is the first time in years we've seen him, except for video calls because they're out of the country now. She's a sweetheart but kind of blunt. Over the course of the party, she pointed out that my haircut made my face look round, and that's the chemo causing fluid buildup. She asked me multiple times if I was sure I didn't want to drink, mostly because she was also getting herself one. She also said I was very confident to avoid wearing jewelry with such short hair. Again, she is a little lacking in social morals, but she still is very genuine in what she says. I just got sick of answering questions about my lack of alcohol, about my haircut, about my face, so I snapped, admittedly. After she commented about my hair again, I said I have cancer, very bluntly and too loudly. Many people overheard, which caused many eyes to turn on to us during a party that was meant for my brother and his girlfriend. My brother took me aside after everyone else had left the house and his girlfriend was in the car. He said I made a scene. He expressed his sympathy that I was dealing with cancer again, but he said that he wished I chose a better time to reveal it because it took away from his and his family's announcements. Now for the advices. Not the a-hole. She was pushy about details and you gave her an answer. The only a-holes in this situation are your brother and his wife. The brother is such an a-hole, like seriously. This is the response you have to all this? Obviously the sister-in-law too, but I think that she must be an alien from hell because there's no way a human would be that rude. Not the a-hole at all ever. This sweetheart repeatedly making comments on your appearance, nope, and how dare your brother. Didn't need to announce it then? The entitled behavior from people honestly astounds me. They did not know the level of your cancer or severity, so to instantly run you to stole our little party with your life-threatening illness is disgusting. I can't cope. The blunt, repeated comments that OP said were genuine make me wonder if the girl is on the spectrum. There's a comedian, Rick Glassman, who is on the spectrum but didn't know until recently. His story really opened my eyes to a few people I thought were completely oblivious on how to be a normal person. They actually might be legitimately obvious. What opened his eyes was no one wanting to play pickup basketball with him because he was way too aggressive for what they wanted. It took someone telling him exactly that to realize he didn't pick up on any of the groans, mumbles, what the F glances, etc. He needs it plainly explained. Of course, the initial conversation explaining things may not be pleasant. You're not wrong, Walter, you're just an a-hole, but more like, you're not wrong, Walter, you're just mentally incapable of picking up on subtle social cues, which can make you come off as an a-hole. Or she could just be an obvious a-hole. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.